Hello everyone, welcome to the second lecture in the Decorator section of this course, and now we're going to be talking about functions within functions. So we saw previously how we can treat functions and objects. Remember, I assigned the hello function to that greet variable. Now let's see how we can define functions inside of other functions. So we're going to do this by defining a new function called def hello. And again, it's going to take in Jose as the default. And the first thing it's going to do when you call the hello function, it's going to print the hello function has been executed. Okay. Next, what's going to happen is I'm going to write a function within another function. And this function is going to be called greet. So what greet is going to do, and let me zoom out, reset. Here we go. Okay. So the function greet is within the hello function, and it's going to return a string. So let's have the string say, this is inside the greet function. And something I want to do here, just to make it extra clear when we're printing some of these things or running them, I'm going to put in a tab statement. Okay. So continuing on, I'm going to have another function within this function called welcome. It doesn't take any arguments, and what it's going to do is, similarly, it will return with a tab. This is inside the welcome function. And then outside of everything, I'm going to say print the result of greet, print the result of welcome, and print now we are back inside the hello function. Okay, so let's just break down what's happening in this function. So what's happening in this function is I have hello, the outside function, takes in the name Jose, and says print, the hello function has been executed. Then I have the greet function, which just returns, this is inside the greet function. Then I have the welcome function, which returns, this is inside the welcome function. Those two statements are inside those respective functions. So when you call hello, it prints the result of greet, which is this statement. It prints the result of welcome, which is this statement. And then finally it prints, now we're back inside this main hello function. So let's go and see what happens when we call hello. Great. So it says the hello function has been executed. And then it says this is inside the greet function. That's the result of this line. It says this is inside the welcome function. That's the result of this line. Then it says now we're back inside the hello function. And the reason they're tabbed is because I'm putting this escape tab character there. So let's see what happens if we call welcome. So note, when I call welcome, it's not defined. And that's because due to scope, the welcome function is not defined outside the hello function. So the only function that's aware that welcome exists is the hello function. Since it's not defined outside of hello, it's not globally defined, so Python doesn't know about it outside of the hello function. So now let's learn about returning functions from within functions. So what I'm going to do now is take this hello function that we made. I'm going to get rid of this line. I'm going to keep the greet and welcome lines, but what I'm going to do now is say this. If name is equal to Jose, that string, return greet. And note, I'm returning greet, not the result of greet. So I'm actually returning the function. If I wanted to return the result, I would do this. But we're returning the actual function. Then I say else return welcome. Again, not returning the result, returning the function, so we don't have those parentheses there. All right, so I have my hello function. Now let's see what happens when we say x is equal to hello. So now let's see what happens. I'm going to set that equal. Let's go ahead and delete that. So something to note is that because this is closed parentheses, that means the name has already been defined as Jose, since that was the default of hello. So x already has the name Jose within it. So if I just call x right now, I get the function main greet. So now we can see how x is pointing to the greet function inside the hello function. So why is that? That's because hello had by default the name Jose, and I said if name is equal to Jose, return the greet function. And since the greet function is inside the hello function, that means right now, as far as scope is concerned, we are aware of it and we'll return this function to this variable, which means now x is equal to that function greet. So now on a global scale, I can say print greet, or print, x, and it will print what's inside of the greet function. So again, let's take a quick look at this code. In the if-else clause, we are returning greet and welcome, not the actual results. We're returning the functions. And this is because when you put a pair of parentheses after, the function gets executed. Whereas if you don't put the parentheses after it, then it can be passed around and can be assigned to other variables without executing it. So when we write x equals hello, parentheses, hello gets executed. So we're actually executing this function when we assign it to x. And that's why the name Jose by default gets placed when you execute hello, which means this Boolean statement becomes true, which means we return the greet function that was inside the hello function, which allows x to be equal to the main greet function, and then printing x like so with parentheses means you're actually running the greet function. Okay, so we've learned how to deal with functions within functions, and we've also learned how to return functions. So now in the next video, what we're going to see is how we can pass functions as arguments into other functions. And we've seen this already a bit with functions such as map and reduce and filter, where we could even pass lambda expressions. So now we're just going to go and have an overview of functions as arguments. Okay, I'll stop this video here, and I will see you at the next video where we talk about functions as arguments. Thanks, and I'll see you there.